Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this January 13th version, 2026 of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon. We're glad that you are here with us. If you want to find our content, if you go to EOA.network, that takes you to a link tree where you can find the places of our YouTube and our Facebook and our Roku channel, our website, and also our Spotify account. So here right away, in fact, we're going to reverse the show this morning just a little bit. This Grande city manager, John O'Brien, is with us. And so we're going to reverse the show. Your schedule's kind of short this morning, and so we're going to talk to you the first part of the show, and then we'll do our sports and weather a little bit later on. Hey, how are you, man?
Good. Thank you. Appreciate you inviting me here.
Yeah. So, how many months now has it been that you?
5 months.
Wow.
5 months.
5 months. The new city manager. You followed Robert Strope, and Robert had been here
17 years.
Yeah, a long time.
Yep.
So. Yeah, when I started recording the city council meetings, I think Robert and he'd only been there a couple of years, so because that was early in our business. So,
are you still on a beach in Cancun, or are you sleeping on the couch doing your own laundry?
I'm still sleeping on the couch doing my own laundry, but hopefully next month I'll be sleeping on the beach.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, how's it going, just generally?
Overall, I'd say it's well. It's definitely a fire hose. There's a lot to running a city. Not to mention that I think and feel and believe that what happened before me and set the conditions for what we're getting ready to do. And I'm thankful for that because it would have been a whole lot harder than it already is if it hadn't been done. But we've got a lot on the horizon, so we'll see what that looks like over the next couple months. It's a little stressful. I'd be lying to say it's not.
Yeah. So, is there anything that has surprised you or that has stood out that you weren't prepared for?
I don't know that there's ever a way to truly be prepared for it. The worlds that I came from were complicated and difficult in themselves, and whenever I stepped up into something new there, the skills that I had developed to get there certainly helped me, which I would say would be the truth of where I'm at now. But if I were to have come here thinking that I knew it all and it was going to be easy, then that would have been pretty arrogant on my part. What I can say is I feel like I'm as equipped as I need to be able to become more equipped, to be able to do the job that's required. And I feel up to the challenge, and I'm surrounded with a team that's a bunch of true subject matter experts that will help us be successful, let alone what's generating, I think, within the community to help make that successful as well.
Well, cool. So, I don't know, kind of give me a summarization of how are things? What is your assessment so far?
So I guess my assessment would be that there's a very real need. The services that the city currently provides is adequate considering the resources that we have to be able to provide it. While at the same time, to deepen that assessment or that statement, I would say that I think most people could agree that the services could be better. But the problem is of course, how we do that. I feel like I was saying before, that the conditions have been set well, but we're getting ready to go into a season, or at least I'm going to recommend to the council anyway, that we go into this season of what I'm referring to as the Fiscal Transformation Initiative. It's basically meant to take what has been done well so far and utilize that to set the conditions for better for the future. Excuse me, it would take a long time to probably go through all the details of what that's going to look like, especially because we're still forming it to some degree. In fact, we're going to be talking about some of that at this city council, or not city council, but community town hall that we're holding tomorrow evening at EOU Huber Hall. It's starting at 6 o'clock.
Good, yeah.
But bottom line is the way I see it is that the pace, the cost of doing business is genuinely outpacing the revenue that we have coming in. And so what we need to, we're not at a place in time where we're in any immediate threat of anything having to be cut per se. There's some level of threat, but I feel like we have a good chance of being able to mitigate that and keep it at a safe distance while we're putting the framework in place to conduct this transformation initiative that we're talking about. But it's going to take some significant science and community involvement, really, in order to be able to bring all things together to be able to make what we need to happen in order to make it sustainable well into the future. And that's what we're doing now. So if everything goes well, by the end, before we start the next budget year, we'll have a 5 to 10 year, or at least a 5-year strategic plan that will be the implementation of this fiscal transformation initiative.
So right now we're operating in the red, the city?
No, I wouldn't say that we're operating in the red. What I would say is that when you look at, so Oregon law is very specific in requiring us to budget a very specific way. And in those specifics, we have to forecast a specific way, and we have to, in both revenue, we have to forecast specifically in revenue, and we have to forecast specifically in expenses. When you look at those specific ways, in order to balance the budget, we could not actually continue to do the services that we're doing now had we not on our own over the last 17 years built such a healthy, I'm going to refer to it as a savings account. And so because of the way that we're required to forecast, there's what we forecast and there's the science of it, of what we know is going to be the likely outcome of implementing the action of that.
Okay.
In that implementation, more often than not, we don't actually end up usually spending what we believe that we're likely to spend. And I'll use as an example, if we were to be up to 100% staffing at all times, well, then that would be us using everything we forecasted.
Right.
The unfortunate part is we're never ever at 100% staffing. So at the end of the year, we always end up with a little bit of money left over, and that has resulted in an ability for us to put money into what I'm referring to as savings. And so we've been able to build up this nest egg of savings, and then eventually the way that business was being conducted put us in a place where rather than cut services, we could say, if we're not able to, or if we actually fully meet all of these dollar amounts in our expenditures throughout the year, well, then we will be able to dip into savings to help cover those costs.
Right.
Fortunately, we've never had to do that yet. But we're reaching a point in time where that will, in fact, have to be the way, or we need to cut services.
And that's because of a rising cost of everything?
It's exactly.
Basically?
Exactly. When you look at the cost of doing business and everything from all the materials and equipment that we use to the ever-increasing cost of having employees.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, they deserve to not stay paid the same as they were paid in the 80s. They should be getting paid what current competitive wages should be for getting paid. It's just a hard balance to strike when your revenue is not keeping pace with the inflation demand.
Gotcha.
So, and when I've been recording the city council meetings and the budget meetings for the last 15 years, and when I've seen, even conversations about cutting services, not actually cutting services, but just conversations. I mean, people come out in groves. That's when they're really paying attention.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But is it, I don't know, is it hard, as you've talked to people, and you and I have spent a lot of time talking together, and as you've gone out, you've really put yourself out there, in any civic organization that will have you come speak to them, you've done a good job of getting in front of them. And I think that would be an invitation that you would make to people. Yeah. You want them to you want to engage with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As you've talked with them, do you think that they really get that if you don't have enough money, you might have to cut costs? I mean, do they really understand that? Do you think?
I think conceptually most people get it. The problem is the discomfort of having to accept that reality. So sometimes, rather than accepting it, it's easier to come to the conclusion that somebody needs to do something different or better, which is to a degree true. While at the same time, there could be a point in time where you arrive at the conclusion that you really have no choice but to cut services. But I will say, if you don't mind me taking the opportunity, that's kind of the reason why we're upping these civic engagement efforts that I've started conducting, and if I have my way about it, we'll inject some steroids into it and take it to a higher degree. I'm planning on filling a lot of my time with getting out and talking to the public to make sure that I'm talking to them, to the community, I should say, talking to them about the things that they want to talk about, while at the same time using that opportunity to educate them as deep as they're willing to go on the different facets and problems of the city. When there's a lack of understanding in things, it's really easy. The human mind gravitates towards the negative, and I think when we're not doing a good job of contacting and communicating with the community, well, then we put ourselves in a position where everybody will automatically, the negative that they'll go to is that the city's not trustworthy, that they aren't as transparent as they could be. And so I realize I'm never going to fully solve that problem, but I recognize that part of the answer to that question is I got to meet people where they are, and I got to be willing to talk about the things they're willing to talk about and make sure that they know that they're heard and understand what we can do, and when we can't, why we can't do it. And then provide solutions of how we can get to the things that they're looking for or the things that they want. And that's part of this fiscal transformation is that we're going to implement this, and I'm going to do this in all of these, every place that people will allow me to come. We've gone out and met people on their streets and talked to 4 or 5 people on a street block just to talk to them about the things that they want to talk about, let alone some of these opportunities I've been able to go to and speak to, like you said, civic groups that have been willing to invite me out to come out and talk to them. And that seems to be gaining energy because then somebody that's in that group is a part of something else, and then they invite me to that other group. I'd be lying to say that's not a lot of work, but I can say that going there gives me the opportunity to talk to them about the things that they care about, while at the same time make sure that I'm letting them know about these other things that we're working on and giving them the opportunity to become more aware and more informed. And we're creating tools to make it so that that understanding can grow to the degree that they want it to, whether it's the 50,000-foot view, the wave top view, the just below the sea level view, or even down deep. But it's going to take a little time for those tools to be ready for people to be able to access them. But we'll be talking about that at the community town hall as well.
Cool. What else? Talk to us about the town halls for a minute. Okay. I did go to one. Tell me what it is. What are you doing at those?
So there's a few things that we're trying to accomplish. One is we're not really good at telling our story, meaning what the city's doing and what the city's done well, or even sometimes what we've made mistakes on. Simultaneously, within our community are a lot of people that are doing really good things. And so I think all too often we don't get the opportunity to know about those things. And if we understood and realized more how many people in our community are doing great things within our community, well, I think it gives us a nice little shot or positive surge of energy to realize we've got a lot of really great people. Not just assuming that there's great people, but actually knowing stories of truth of what's going on within the community. So the first portion of the community town hall is about us recognizing people within the community that are doing things to contribute within the community to help make it a better place. Behind that, we have opportunities for us to let the community know what it is that we're working on, why we're working on it, and to do what I was saying before. Make sure that people are very aware of what the problems are at the earliest possible case and what we're doing to try and address those problems. The intent is that as we march through this fiscal transformation, as I see it as a 5-year transformation initiative, is to ensure that as within that 5-year plan is going to be what I'm referring to as a PACE-E plan, which stands for primary, alternate, contingency, emergency, and extra emergent. The intent is to solve our transformation issues with that primary effort. If we solve it there, then we're good to go and we can keep marching forward. If we don't solve it there, well, then we have triggers within it that'll make it so we can go from the primary to the alternate. And the community will know real time that, hey, we've transitioned from primary to alternate, and we're now implementing that stage of the plan in order to solve this fiscal transformation effort. If that doesn't work, then we have built within the plan triggers that will take us to the contingent and then the emergent and extra emergent. For the most part, our intention is to not bring any additional cost to the community through that primary, alternate, and contingency levels. When we get to those emergent and extra emergent levels, that's when we're going to be asking the community. We're going to say, hey, we've told you what we're doing. We've shown you what has worked and what hasn't worked. And now we're at the point in time, because of what hasn't worked, where the only solutions that we're foreseeing to bring this transformation into reality is for us to come back to the community and seek some additional funds through some form of either tax or formation of a special district.
I track all of that. This sometimes sounds like if you have a family meeting and you got mom and dad and the kids, mom and dad and the teenagers, let's say, okay, and you're laying out the expenses of what's happening, and somebody loses their job, mom loses their job or whatever, and then so you got to have that conversation of like, we can't keep living the way that we have been living, and we've got to cut back on things. And so then there's this huge understanding, like, okay, we understand, but there's still pain when it's like, yeah, we have to get rid of a car, and so that's going to be inconvenient for us and stuff. How do you help people through that? I mean, and I know that's a hard question.
Yeah, no, I think the first thing we have to understand is that the answer to the question isn't necessarily something that's going to make you feel good. It's just the reality of being willing to understand the reality of the circumstance. So I think that's the first thing. And that usually what helps you overcome that is relationship. And so my desire is to form genuine relationship with the community so that it knows me and I know them. And that way, when we're having conversations, I can trust what the community is sharing. I enter into it with the assumption that the community is trustworthy. The community doesn't necessarily do that with me, and that's right. They need time to get to know me. And so with time, my desire would be for them to be able to know that I'm trustworthy, and that when I'm sharing things with them, that they can know that I'm not necessarily telling them what they want to hear, but I'm telling them the truth. And so when they can trust that, then it can be easier to get over the emotional hurdles of the difficulties of the circumstances that you want to resolve, and then move to solutions. Mm-hmm. And so what I'd like to be able to do, and going back to what you said, from what I understand in the history of Grande, when you get to the point in time where you're getting ready to cut services, well, there's an outpouring of personnel that end up making those hard decisions harder to make. And I think that's because by the time we get to the point where we're talking about cutting services, all of the pre-conversation hasn't occurred. All of the stuff that shows, hey, this is what we're marching towards and what we're doing to try and solve the problem before we get to the point where we're asking you to cut a service. If the community is fully aware 3 years in advance of all the things that are going on, or longer even, known in advance what we're working on and what the problems are that are trying to solve, then they're actively engaged and actively involved in the understanding of the problem set. And then when we come to the stage where an emergency solution has to be implemented, well, then we can all more easily arrive, at least that's my hope, arrive at the conclusion that we have to take the emergent actions. And so to me, that's expectation management in a way that's caring, while at the same time factual, not ruinously caring.
Okay. So I get all that. I don't know. Bring me up to what else has been on your mind that you might want to mention to us.
I can say that we're also getting ready to two things that are kind of, they don't, at first statement it'll probably won't sound like an overly big deal, but they're big movement parts for me. Excuse me. One of them is we're putting together right now a Connect Grande app. And so we're planning by no later than April to roll out this app that's going to be a method for additional communication to be able to take place between the community and the city, most specifically with myself, as well as ability to do business with the city through that app as well, and gain information. The other thing behind that is that, let's see, I had a thought. Social media. So we're getting ready to implement one of the things I was talking about, making contact and connecting with people and talking to them. What I realize is there's only so much bandwidth or time in the day to be able to go and have meetings with people, and so let alone whether or not people are actually inviting us to, or me to be able to come out and talk to them, or the team to come out and talk to them. The thing behind that is a big chunk of our population is on social media. And so if we're not utilizing those platforms to help inform people, then I believe we're doing something wrong. And so we're amping up the efforts to give people more information via social media in a simple way that isn't overwhelming, while at the same time, in the best case scenario, is generating informed community members on what the reality and current state of the city is on any given week, day, or month.
Yeah, we recently...
Day, week, month.
Yeah, I was, at the beginning of the year, we were looking at some facts from 2025, and more than 50% of people are getting their basic news off of social media.
Yep.
I mean, they're not going to some news outlet or whatever, which is understandable and scary at the same time, because, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we're definitely going to be but I choose to believe that the more people get to know me, they're going to be able to see and know that I'm trustworthy.
Yeah.
And as they get to know that, then what we're sharing, I think, will become more popular, in part because it's trustworthy. Mm-hmm. We're not looking to make it entertainment. We're looking to make it genuine and compelling. So that people don't just simply want to be passive, but in the future become a little more active in helping to become a part of the solutions. Because the bottom line is we need, as a community, when I say as a community, I'm saying the city government and the community itself, we have to unite.
Right.
A united community, fully united, not just in word, but in actual action, I believe wholeheartedly will change the world. I believe that Grande is meant to show what a united community looks like in prosperity. And I'm excited to be a part of helping to make that happen.
Good. Well, thank you, man. So is anything else, but tell us one more time about the town hall tomorrow night, and we'll get you out of here.
Okay. I would say tomorrow night, EOU, Huber Hall. I think it's in the Bagley building, and starts at 6 p.m. We will be streaming it as well, and it'll be recorded. So if you can't get there in person and join us, which I would love to see you there, then please at least watch the recording, if not the live stream.
Yeah, and the city has a YouTube page, and that's where that stuff lands. And I think actually the last city council meeting that we did was on there also.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, John, thank you so much for being here.
Right,
appreciate you popping in this morning. So,
thank you.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. So, hey, we're back, John. Real quick, one more question. We had a question come in on Facebook that I didn't see. Good morning. I've recently heard a rumor that City Hall has contacted the Sheriff's Office for police services in the city of Grande. Is City Hall trying to replace LGPD? Yeah.
And then he said, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for
and
your
that's
time.
from Jason Blade.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I appreciate the question. So what I can tell you is that the police department has not been able to get to full staff since 2016. And I'm personally a little bit concerned, as well as the leadership of the police department is concerned in regards to the toll that's taking. When you look at the calls for service that are coming in and the amount of work that they have to do with a continual and perpetual reduced staff. And when I say reduced staff, to say that they don't have full staff is only part of the problem. You still have people that are sick, you still have different things that come up, vacation time. That on top of the short staff exasperates the circumstances. It's not for lack of effort prior to my arrival here by the previous leadership and or the police department to try and solve that problem. And they are aggressively trying to solve the problem, and we're working together to develop solutions. What I can say is that we are not proactively looking to turn police services over to the sheriff's office. What we did do was ask if we want to have a conversation in regards to how those two agencies could work together better in some way, shape, or form, to seek innovations for the two agencies or organizations to work together in order to try and help bring that relief to the police department. There was no predetermined outcome as to what that would look like. We literally only got as far as, do we want to talk about this? And then after we had that conversation, some further internal conversation led to us saying, let's press pause for a little bit on this this innovation seeking and leave ourselves with the opportunity to be able to, because we're in transition right now. As you guys know, Gary's retiring. And so with whoever is selected next to be the chief, once that person takes the position, then we want to give them the opportunity to be able to give it a shot at solution before we start implementing. The intent was simply to have conversations about what could be possible.
Right.
But of course, when stuff gets out into the community, everybody starts to think that it means it's happening.
Yeah.
Well, we hadn't even decided what was happening yet. We were just simply saying, do we want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's as
Good.
much conversation as took place.
Well, and anybody who comes in from the outside and is aware of how the sheriff's department and the police department, they're housed in the same building, they use the same jail. There are some duplicate services, although their domain is different,
Yeah.
And so, and right now there have been active conversation for years about, a new jail facility and, which is a huge need. And so, I think that's a relevant conversation to have.
Yeah, and that's all it was.
Yeah.
It literally was, should we talk about this?
Yeah, all right.
We got to get them out
Yeah,
here.
well, hey, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. We'll take
Thank
another
you.
break and be right back.
Eastern Oregon is full of interesting people, with interesting minds and interesting things to say. Here at EO Live, we're committed to connecting you to these intriguing people with EO Talks. We let our special guests share their ideas and life experiences with deep, open, engaging, and inquisitive conversations. You'll also be informed in depth on some of the most recent and relevant events, issues, and more. EO Talks on EO Live, your connection to Eastern Oregon, now on Roku. Need something to watch while you sip your early morning coffee before work? Tune in to Eastern Oregon's only live morning video talk show, AM Live, right here on the EOA network. BC and Dodsey hosts while shooting the breeze about local happenings, sports, weather, or whatever else comes to mind, featuring special guests from Eastern Oregon and beyond. AM Live, 8 a.m. every Tuesday and Thursday morning, right here on the EOA Network.
All right, we're back.
We're back. Backwards show today.
That's right.
It's on a backwards show on a backwards Monday.
Yeah, well, rather than bantering, why don't you just do sports, man?
Let's do it.
All right.
AM Sports Report brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress. Prices dropped on the remaining closeout mattresses. 7 premium queen sets left and a bunk bed blowout. Prices starting at $275 for twin bunk beds. They have a queen upholstered bed frame for $450 and lots of other amazing deals on the remaining closeouts. Northwest Furniture and Mattress. Big red rocking chair on Elmoff Adams in LeGrand. LHS Girls Wrestling took 5th place Saturday at the Jaybird Memorial Tournament. The Tigers had 1 champion, 5 placers, 190 pounds. Maddie Armstrong won another tournament. She's having a heck of a senior season. The placers were at 104th. Ellie May. I always say her name wrong. God, Eileen May. I can't ever say her name right. I butcher it. And then at 106th, Ella Rastine. At 105th, Carly Radke. At 126th, Avery Robinson. And at 135th, Emmeline Livingston. The boys sent the returning 4 state placers from last year down to the Doc B tournament. Tommy Belding went 2-2. Bregan Anderson and Noah Collins each won a match, and Dex Dunlop unfortunately didn't win any matches. But I mean, this is the toughest tournament there is. It's all state placers and state champions. The 165-pound weight class had the number 1 kid in the country. I'll get some pictures up of that if I can get them done. Arlie Anderson sent me some pictures. There's not a lot, obviously, because we only wrestled a few matches. We only had 4 kids that placed last year. LHS girls swim team won 2nd place overall of 13 teams at the swim meet at Lewis and Clark College, hosted by Riverdale High School over the weekend. Congratulations to them. On our social media, you'll find all the placers. You know, there's too many to read. So if you want to see who placed where, go to our social media and check it out. LHS boys basketball lost 2 over the weekend to 5A teams, Redmond and Crook County. They head to Ontario today to kick off GOL play. They tip off at 8 o'clock Mountain Time for their, like I said, first GOL game of the year. The LHS girls basketball team lost a tough one to Redmond on Saturday, which is the number 1 team in 5A. It's kind of they're really good. That was a tough week for the Tiger girls. They played the number 1 team in 3A earlier in the week, and then the number 1 team in 5A on Saturday. They head to Ontario today for their GOL tip-off as well, 6 o'clock Mountain Time. EOU women's basketball beat OIT on Friday, which was a huge win. OIT was ranked 18th in the country. And then Saturday, they just came out flat, and they lost their first game of the year. They're 15-1. They're still in first place in the conference. I'm sure they're going to get some votes in the national polls this week. They have Corbin and Bushnell at home this weekend. The men beat both OIT and Southern on this trip down south over the weekend, that's the first time that's happened in a long time. 10 plus years probably, I would imagine. I can't remember the last time it happened. It's crazy. This Mounties team is an offensive juggernaut, but on Friday night against OIT, it was pretty low scoring. I don't remember the score right off the top of my head, but it was a fairly low scoring game, and the Mounties, they looked really good. They're also in first place in the CCC right now. Finally, EOU men's wrestling will host Corbin on Thursday at 5:30 p.m. and this will be senior night. The senior night was supposed to be Sunday, this last Sunday. Evergreen canceled, so they moved senior night to Thursday at 5:30 p.m. So if you don't got anything to do on Thursday night, go check them out. This weekend, the AAU tournament for LeGrand is boys and girls basketball is happening at the Wildcat Center. And it's going to be cool. I mean, there's going to be a lot of good young basketball. AAU gets pretty good support in this town. I think Pepsi sponsors it. It's cool. AM Sports Report brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress. They want to make you comfortable in your own home.
Good stuff. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look outside, and the weather is just so strange. Everybody talks about, it's been a fairly mild winter so far.
Hey, you're jinxing it.
Am I jinxing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been horrible.
Yeah.
Tomorrow there's going to be 8 feet of snow.
Yeah. There could be. It could be stored up.
When I went to Pendleton last week, it was a blizzard.
Was it?
Yeah, up on the pass.
Yeah.
Just blizzard, and then on the way back, it was pretty much.
Yeah.
Clear.
Like it is. Yeah.
It's like, man, this place can't decide what it wants to do weather-wise.
No. All right, let's look at that graphic, Benny. So 49 today. Sun shining. Yeah. 31
kind of day.
31 tonight, 49 tomorrow, similar day tomorrow. I mean, similar days for the next several days.
That'd be my kind of day if you doubled that temperature right there.
Yeah. But see, look, it's all sunny. There's no moisture in the forecast.
I'm good with that.
At least, for a little bit. So, yeah.
It's awesome. Sunny and 40s, mid 40s and up.
Yeah.
Feel like
to
feel like spring.
I tell you what always surprises me is when we have a sunshiny day, it I don't know, it just changes my spirit. It's like I can be kind of in the dumps, and then all of a sudden, or I won't even know that I'm in the dumps, and then when I get some sun, it's like, oh man.
I just like the way the sun physically feels.
Yeah.
Like I try not to let the mental side of it, you know what I mean, like just block it out. But like just going out and being warm feels good.
Well, I used to, people that said, like, oh, I've got a sunlight, and it helps me. Was that vitamin E?
Vitamin D, I think.
Vitamin D, I can't remember. Anyhow, it's like, so they have a special light that gives them that vitamin that comes through sun, and I used to think that was ridiculous. Vitamin what?
Vitamin D.
D. Okay, yeah. And then anyhow, so I don't know that I have a deficiency in vitamin D, but
I do.
It certainly changes my attitude.
I must have a deficiency because I love the sunshine.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, why don't you get us out of here, man?
We're getting out of here.
Yeah.
This is so weird to do.
Yeah, it is. Everything's
on
back.
this day, January 13th, 1794, Congress changes the U.S. flag to 15 stars and 15 stripes. 1978, NASA selects its first American women astronauts. 2020, on this day, the oldest material existing on Earth at 7.5 billion years old is revealed by scientists studying the Murchison meteorite that fell to Earth in Australia in the 1960s. 2021, the world's oldest known cave painting of an animal, a pig, that was 45,000 years old is discovered in Langtadong Cave on the island of Sulawesi, Indonesia. Excuse me, I think I said that right. The number one movie in America on this day in 1985, Beverly Hills Cop. Eddie Murphy, man.
85.
His stand-ups in the 80s were so funny. Delirious, and what was the other one? You had Delirious. I can't remember what the other one was called, but the quote of the day comes from John Muir. The power of imagination makes us infinite. That's a crazy quote. One more time. The power of imagination makes us infinite.
What was the Eddie Murphy movie where he's a street dude and the two rich guys guess
Coming to America.
No. That's not it. No, he's a
Oh, he's the guy that comes to America.
He's a bum. No, he's a bum on the street, and two rich guys decide, like, they make a wager whether they can make him a corporate executive.
I don't know if I've seen it. I mean, Harlem Nights.
No.
The Nutty Professor, Beverly Hills Cop. Let's see, what year?
It was one of his first ones.
One of his first movies.
Yeah.
I mean, he started with stand-up.
Um,
Let's look. Hang on. Let's look at his IMDb. Eddie Murphy, Wikipedia, Trading Places.
Trading Places.
Yeah,
That's
there
it.
you go.
Yeah. So, and what's funny is, so the plot, I did My Fair Lady, In Trading Places, My Fair Lady was done. It was done in the 50s, but it's essentially the same plot. My Fair Lady is two rich guys bet whether they can get a street urchin, they call her a street urchin, to become a lady. Well, and that's kind of the same thing that Trading Places is. It's anyhow a little bit off the wall, but I've always thought of when I first got into My Fair Lady, I was like, this is just like that movie Trading Places with Eddie Murphy. Very funny. So, all right, hey, thank you guys for being here.
Yep, we'll see
Appreciate
you on
it.
Thursday.
Yep, see you soon.